Pop opera. Wow. Pop opera.
A pleasant evening to all of you. I am Colleen Gail Garcido from STEM 11U, and I am your speaker for today. I am very excited to share to all of you the topic I prepared for today. Do you wanna know what topic I'll be sharing for today? I am going to discuss the topic how the educational system works in the face of pandemic. So, prepare your ears and minds as I'm going to share an interesting topic to all of you. This is an issue that we all can relate to. We all know that education is critical in human life, as this provides us chances and opportunities in life. Education is one of the most important factors in achieving life success. It's difficult to survive in this planet without any college degree or sufficient knowledge. Criticisms and judgmental are abound to this world. Discrimination will never end, and you need a graduate degree to have a higher position in any job. Higher position means more salary. It's difficult to have a livelihood without a college degree, as certain jobs required for it. Education allows us to know more about life and discover new things. We all know how difficult it is to achieve our dreams. You need to work hard for them and study for them. But it became more difficult when pandemic struck to the world, forcing us to make changes in the educational system. What will you do if the pandemic has an impact on schooling as well? It's still necessary to continue education even in we are in the midst of crisis. That's why we are here today to share about more knowledge in how the educational system works in the midst of pandemic. Let's start with point number 1. The education system in a pandemic. When the COVID-19 virus infects all the countries, the world falls apart dramatically. The virus made a lot of impact on the people, causing a lot of adjustments and constraint, limiting our ability to move freely. Everyone must wear this mask when going outside, and we must adhere to government mandate health regulation. I recall wearing this mask as a fashion item back then because I love K-pop very much, and I constantly following their trends. But now, I never imagined I'd be using this mask for the rest of my life. The number of cases is still rising, and the COVID-19 virus is still spreading and spawning new viruses, putting the world under lockdown again. Nobody expected this to be happen. It has a huge negative effect on business and student education. All of the schools at the time were forced to halt all the face-to-face classes since the number of cases is rising, which is very alarming to us. Since then, the classes has been stopped, and the time goes by so quickly, and they ended the school year before beginning a new normal curriculum. To be honest, I am completely unconcerned about it at the time. I am actually relieved and happy when the classes are cancelled. I am rather pleased by it as I didn't believe that this virus is going to be a threat in the world. Woo! Party party, yes! I didn't believe that the virus will spread at the time, believing that the government will quickly handle the problem. But right now, I wish to go back in the moment wherein none of us is wearing this mask. It affected not only the pupils, but also the teachers because some of them lose their jobs and had to quit teaching because some of the schools are already closed or had a limited of teachers. The educational system has undergone with many changes and not all of us can achieve their dreams because not all the students are privileged enough to have a access on the internet. And it was so sad. The underprivileged cannot purchase it. That's when the government began to implement the series of changes in our educational system, which is not everyone is agreed to. But we have no choice but to follow because it's the way of government to protect the people from the virus. The Department of Education came to the conclusion that the education can continue in modular classes, blended learning, and online classes, ensuring that no students are left behind in their study. We are all given the opportunity to study and reach our ambitions. Let's move on to point number 2. The advantage of the new normal education. The major goal of the new normal education is to protect the pupils from the virus, which is extremely simple to spread when face-to-face sessions. It is designed to discourage the kids and the students from going outside. Nowadays, the education is primarily delivered to online classes. And the students like me is heavily rely on the social media sites and application to improve our academic goals. The lessons nowadays are more easier. Because what? We can quickly get them on the internet. Teachers are also adopting this kind of technologies because it is the only way to teach and grade their students. Many developers have produced variety of application. To what? To help the students to continue their studies and make their life easier. Like Zoom, Google Classroom, and Killbot, and many others. I would honest that I am one of the students that are using this kind of apps. As the virus spreads, the technology increasingly insane. I would say I am actually impressed how the technology works today. Every student nowadays are using internet. It is their way to find some ideas in their homeworks, as the internet contains almost all of the answer from the various sources. I believe that math has been easier because of several apps that are helping us to solve the problems in just one click. As a result, many students are finding this setup easy because of many websites and apps that are helping us to improve our task. It also doesn't cost that much because we are practically spending the most of our time in our home and conserve all the energies. It also helps us with the time management because most of the synchronous classes are only half day. It helps us to manipulate time and respond to the activities whenever we want. When we are using blended learning, we have a lot of freedom. We have a lot of time for the deadlines because the teachers are more considerate about it than before than we are taking face-to-face classes. The modular classes allows the students who do not have enough money to purchase digital equipment or internet access to complete their education by using modules graded in schools. It is simpler because the pupils just need to answer the exercises and their parents are going to submit the modules in the school for their weekly grading. I would say that the government made a very fair decision about this because the underprivileged people are given the opportunity to study in their system. Let's move to point number 3, which is the last point of this speech. The disadvantages of new normal education. Many pupils are finding this setup difficult because they do not all have the same capabilities as others and having a tough time to adjust on modernization. Not all the pupils are intelligent to teach themselves at home because they prefer more face-to-face education. I would say I am also having a hard time on this method. But I don't have a choice but to move forward. It's hard for the student to comprehend all the lessons if they are only seeing it in the Google Classroom and other apps. Not everyone can manage their time and be self-disciplined. As a result, several students fail to meet the requirements at the time. Many of the learners also are having a unstable mental health and a lack of energy which to complete their task, which is very suffocating for them. Students also are failing to meet the deadlines due to some distractions like social media, which is preventing them to complete their task on time. There are many entertaining apps, like I would say a lot, such as Twitter, Instagram, Mobile Legends, and others, which caused the students to spend the majority of their time in these apps. I would say that I am also addicted to these social media apps, especially in Twitter, which causes of my late submissions. Some of the students also do not have study resources because of what? Lack of necessary technology. It also exhausting to study in this kind of environment because I would say students can easily cheat because the answers are readily available in the internet. Some of the pupils are relying in this kind of apps too much than their knowledge. And it was so sad that some students cannot live without such apps. I'd say that this software are really dependable. I rely on this a lot of times, which caused me to doubt my own intelligence and prevents me to learn something new. This is the terrible truth today. As the students given so much freedom, many of them are took advantage of it, while the teachers are unaware of the student what is going on in their students. It is equivalent of passing a class without learning anything. To summarize my speech, the education is very vital to all of people. To the extent that the education will continue even pandemic occurs. Academic fees is never a viable option for all the students since we will all find a method to complete our education. The epidemic has caused us so much pain, but I am confident that all the students can adjust to the modernization. It has a lot of disadvantages, but it has more benefits to students, as we can all agree that the internet has been very beneficial to us. Face-to-face classes are more preferable for education quality. But since we are in the midst of pandemic, the best way to keep safe and protect ourselves from the virus is to stay in blended learning. It was a very tough period, but we must persevere until the world is restored. Not only the students, but also the teachers are suffering as well, because they can teach the students face to face. The world will soon return to normal. The teenagers can return to the normality with TikTok competition across the community. Stay home and save lives. Bye-bye! Yes!